Okay, assalamu alaikum everyone. We are here from CLEAR. My name is Ramzi Qasim. I'm a professor at the City University of New York School of Law. I also direct the CLEAR project at CUNY Law School. My colleague Naz Ahmed is a staff attorney with the CLEAR project, so we're both attorneys with CLEAR. Our topic today, our focus today is on basically traveling while Muslim. This time of year, many American Muslims are going overseas for Hajj. We've received requests for information on our rights at the airport, how to exercise our rights, what to expect at the airport and at international borders.
If you don't have any kind of status, if you don't have any kind of papers, you shouldn't leave the United States because you won't be allowed back in. If you do have status, if you have a visa or you have a green card, but you have had some kind of contact with the criminal justice system in the past, particularly if you've had some kind of conviction for a crime, you should definitely consult an attorney before you travel. Do you think that you can refuse to go through the body scanner at the airport? Yes, you can. You can refuse to go to through the body scanner, but you will be subjected to a pat down by a TSA officer instead. So if you prefer that, you can ask for a pat down instead and ask for the pat down to be done by a TSA officer of the same gender as you and that it be done in a private area. Do you think they can ask somebody to remove their hijab? Yes, so technically they can because they consider it to be an outer garment like a coat or shoes. If they do ask you to remove your hijab, you can always ask them to pat you down or use one of those wands over your hijab instead of asking you to fully remove it.
The next thing that we need to talk about are items that you're going to carry on with you on the plane. If for whatever reason you're pulled aside for additional searches, you can insist or you can ask that your items be searched in front of you. If you can note down details about the agent or at least mentally try to remember the agent's name, the agent's description, the time, the place, there are ways for you to then complain. We can help you with that process or you can do it yourselves. You can speak to a supervisor. There are different ways that you can raise these complaints. Of course, throughout this entire situation, try to remain calm, try to remain polite, no matter what the behavior of the agent is like. They might ask you for your password. They might ask you to unlock your phone. They might even say, hey, you have to do this. They might try to put pressure on you and they might, escalate. Because I think the natural instinct most of us have is to comply. But the reality is you are under no obligation to give them the password to your smartphone. You are under no obligation to unlock that smartphone or unlock that laptop for them. And keep in mind that if you provide them that password or if you unlock your phone for them, they will then say that you have consented. And they will say that whatever information they've gotten from that phone, they got with your consent and agreement and that they can use it against you. But, again, that's all in the interest of making sure that your private information remains private. It doesn't mean you have anything to hide. And it doesn't matter if they tell you, oh, you're acting very suspicious. Why is your phone encrypted? The next most important precautions to remember are to encrypt your information, make sure you come up with a strong passphrase. And at that point, that means that even if they take that device, it's a locked safe that they're probably not going to be able to penetrate unless you give them the passphrase. So what you should do is stand on your right, exercise your rights, say you're not going to give the password, and if they take any of your items, make sure you get a receipt, try to remember as much as possible, and then you can contact us at CLEAR. Inshallah, we can follow up for you. Our goal here today with this part of the conversation is, inshallah, to equip you with the ability to recognize what are the questions that are appropriate, what are the questions that you should be answering, the questions that they should be asking and that you should be answering, and what are the questions that are inappropriate, where they're crossing lines, asking questions that they should not be asking, and those, as a result, are questions that you are not obligated to answer.
The questions that we advise people to answer and that are okay to answer are questions about your identity. So, for example, what's your date of birth? Where do you live? What's your immigration status? Things like that. And questions about your trip. What was that trip? Not a trip that happened 5 years ago or 2 years ago, that specific trip.
So all of those questions are, inappropriate. They're questions about third parties. They're questions about religious beliefs. They're questions about, political views. You should feel free to say, you know what, I'm not comfortable answering that question. So just remember, use your judgment. You're going to be in that situation. Use your judgment to remain safe, to de-escalate the situation, to stay composed, and to get yourself out of that situation as safely and as quickly as possible. And so what we often advise clients of ours who, for example, are US citizens, is that when they're faced with questions like this, use that privilege. Because as a US citizen, the worst thing they can do to me is maybe keep me there for some period of time, but they're gonna have to let me into the country. You have to draw the line. You have to say, you know what, these questions are completely unacceptable, they're inappropriate, I'm not comfortable answering them, I'm not gonna answer them. And you also have to then report that. You have to let us know it clear, for example, or report that to other organizations that do this work so that complaints can be made.